Thank you, gentlemen. And we are ready for our final panel of the day, Women in ICT. Please welcome Cristel Briantes, partner, PMP Strategy, Ms. Najla El-Kaabi, head of AI Acting Do, Ms. Jennifer Parkhill, Senior Director, Strategy Execution Program Management, Verizon Partner Solutions, Gina Perini, CEO of Somos, Dr. Lydia Stępińska-Ustasiak, President and co-founder of Polistratos Institute, Dalia El-Jazeri, Chief HR and Administrations Officer for EN Egypt, Nada El-Fardan, Consumer Affairs Manager, TDRA UAE, and the Women ICT panel will be moderated by Shazia Sobani, Vice President of Fiber Networks, TELUS. Let's give them a big round of applause.
Good afternoon, everyone. So I do want to start by thanking all the gritty people who are still in the room. And I would also add the loss is for the ones who have left the room. So I'm very fortunate and honored to be accompanied here with the trailblazers from ICT from across the globe. We are here to share their insights and journeys on the problem and some of the gender challenges that we see. I do want to kickstart the panel with a positive note. In the last 10 years, we have seen tremendous progress in terms of gender parity in ICT. We have seen that corporations are focusing more on it. However, the challenge is really big to drive the cultural changes that can attract more female talent, promote them and retain them. And at the same time, I think what we are seeing, the progress is a little bit fragile and progress is not parity. So not having gender parity in ICT is not a women problem. It is an economic problem because today it's estimated that there is a $12 trillion value if we can bring gender parity to ICT because those organizations have 27% higher profitability when they achieve gender parity. So with that, we're going to open up our panel and Nada, I'm going to start with you.
Hello.
Really interested to know from you that how would you assess the current state of gender equality in ICT? Do you think we are on track to reach parity in the next 20 or 30 years?
First of all, it's an absolute honor for me to be here today at the Telecom Review Summit and to participate in Women in ICT. I am Nada El-Fardan. I am the Manager of Consumer Affairs at the Telecommunication and Digital Regulatory Authority, TDRA, and my main role is to create policies that are aimed to protect consumer interests in the telecom sector. So we shape policies that protect billions of the telecom users in this sector. Now, to answer your question, I would like to answer that from the context within the UAE context. And if I will say that whether or not we've reached to gender parity, yes, we did reach, and we're almost closing this gender gap. But let me explain that to you from the UAE perspective. Here in the UAE, we have made remarkable progress when it comes to gender equality, especially in the ICT sector. As a Emirati woman myself, I see myself deeply rooted and woven in the gender equality is deeply rooted and woven into the national identity. You can see women are all across, big positions, holding strong places, starting from the UAE cabinet to the leadership positions across various sectors. 9 out of the 37 ministers in the UAE are female, and this shows the UAE's strong commitment towards bridging the gender gap and ensuring gender balance at the highest level of the government. If we'll talk about leadership, we can't forget about Her Highness Sheikh Fatma bint Mubarak, who has always been supportive of women empowerment and women rights. And the chief had introduced a lot of initiatives since the start and the founding of the UAE. One of her latest is the national strategy for empowering Emirati women, and this focuses on helping the Emirati women to excel in all sectors, and in particularly the ICT sector as well. If we talk about STEM, 56% of the UAE graduates in STEM are females. If we talk about the telecom sector, more than 50% of the telecom sector are females. And if we talk about the GII, which is the Gender Inequality Index, and which is a report that is produced by the United Nations for Human Development, the UAE has impressively ranked 7th globally and 1st regionally. And this highlights the UAE's commitment towards bridging the gap, the gender gap, and ensuring that women are empowered and balanced. So, to answer your question in short, I have a lot to say, but I know we're tight with the time. We are there, and we are so much there. We're so much progressing towards bridging that gender gap.
That is super amazing. Then this region is definitely leading the path globally. Jennifer, what are your views? What is the progress like in the North American sector?
So thank you, and thank you to the Telecom Review team for having us. First of all, I love that we have this panel. I also applaud everybody who's here, and I love the mix of men and women, because this is something we all need to do together and be intentional. I'm Jennifer Parkhill. I work for Verizon Partner Solutions. We're the global wholesale business unit of Verizon. I am based in the United States, share Canadian origins with some of my colleagues here. But I think as we look at it, I'm so impressed by all the work this collective panel does. What a bunch of really intelligent trailblazers that I'm thrilled to be here with. And I think when we look at in North America, we have definitely made progress. There's still more progress to be made. I think looking at how we work together, share best practices across organizations, looking at ways for us to mentor and co-sponsor young females coming through so we can develop that pipeline of talent is one of the main reasons for us being here. And I think as I think about where we need to go, there's metrics. They're usually a starting point to make sure that people have the representation. From there, you can then go into making sure everybody has a voice at the table, and I think that's where we're at in North America. We don't measure quite the same way. It sounds like you've got a great focus here in the UAE, but organization by organization, many of us do have internal metrics, and that's something that we're focused on as well to get the representation where it needs to be.
Thank you, Jennifer. Gina, I'm interested in your thoughts that when we think about what's happening at the C-suite level, we have definitely seen some progress. So the representation of female at the C-suite in the last 10 years has increased from 17% to 29%. So how do we make sure that these changes are sustained and they serve to set a very strong foundation to improve that parity further?
Thank you very much. That's a great question. I'm Gina Perini. I'm the chair of the board and the CEO of a company called Somos, Inc., which is based in the US. And we provide the oversight of the +1 area code, the North American Numbering Plan, on behalf of the Federal Communications Commission, government of US. We also provide number information services for over 200 countries for routing optimization and fraud protection. So we have a lot of work, and there's always new things every day. And this topic is near and dear to my heart. And when I think about the progress, which you rightly note, I think it is quite fragile, which is also what you noted in your question. I think we have to think about diversity initiatives as shift our thoughts on them into more systemic initiatives. We need to bring diversity into our core business strategies. Because sometimes when it's an initiative, it can get deprioritized when things are happening in an organization, but when it's embedded into the strategy of the organization, you're going to see those long-term changes grow and build on themselves. And there's several ways that you can do that. You can think about it in that, if it's important, you measure it. So you want to understand where you are, the benchmarks, understand where you want to go, and start to really see those goals implemented across the organization. You also want to make sure that you're creating leadership pipelines for women. I think we had a conversation earlier today, and we were saying there's a lot of young women coming into the industry, but it starts to fall off in the middle years and in getting into that leadership pipeline. We need to look at why is that happening? How do we create the support, the culture, an inclusive culture in the organization so that women who are coming in, all these amazing engineers that are being trained, how do we bring them in and then keep them in the organization? And I will also say that if you do create an inclusive culture, it benefits everyone. It doesn't just benefit the women, and it benefits your whole organization, because then people are more open to talking, they're more open to, we have a lot of amazing things to do in our industry. It involves creativity and problem solving and truth speaking about what's happening. By creating an inclusive culture, all of that happens sort of on steroids. So there's a lot of those pieces that I think, again, bringing those initiatives into the core of the business strategy is really how we can take it long term.
Thank you so much. So Lydia, when we were chatting earlier during the day, you were sharing that how there is enhanced focus in Europe for that. So could you share your perspective from the European perspective?
Yes, of course, it's my pleasure to be here. My name is Stępińska-Ustasiak. I've been working for telecommunications sector for more than 20 years, but as a sociologist and analyst, I observe the impact of technology on societies and economies, and of course, super interesting part of my observations is growing role of women in ICT sector. As a citizen of the European Union, I cannot overrate regulations supporting presence of women in ICT sector. For example, the directive called Women on Boards, mandating companies to have at least 30% of women on boards and 40% on directorial positions. The European Strategy for Gender Equality 2020-25, and many others. It is important because it sets new frameworks for further action. It sets new patterns for strategies developed by the private sector, and of course it encourages countries to develop such policies and strategies, which is also very important, and I really appreciate it, is work of International Telecommunication Union, educating countries how to develop relevant strategies to close the gender gap, and thanks that we observe in Europe significant growth of presence of women in ICT sector.
Thank you so much. Najla, you're definitely a trailblazer heading the AI initiative in your own field here in this region. So the latest stats tell us that only 38% of women who get a degree in STEM actually go into the career of their field. And then half of them actually leave that job by the age of 35. So I'm really interested in your thoughts that what do you think are the factors that are not letting women, first of all, pursue the STEM career, and secondly, when they do get into it, why do they not stay?
Okay, good evening, everybody. First of all, I would like to give a big applause for these amazing ladies here, especially who came from abroad. I just came to know that Jennifer and Gina, you came from United States. You're flying tonight back to United States. Crystal and Lydia coming from Europe, and Dalia traveling from the region to attend a 40-minute session at the end of the day. So this is just, I cannot say, but a commitment for this cause, and how it is really, you are passionate in driving and helping other women to enter the ICT. Back to your question, Shazia. Well, I think it is a very personal question for me. I graduated computer science. I worked for many years in IT. Then I decided at one point, after a very appealing offer, to move from IT to the foreign affairs. And I stayed there because it was quite appealing. There was good salary, good position. and I was very intrigued to try something else. After 7 years, I decided I want to come back. I want to come back to the ICT. This is my first passion. This is where I really want to, retire and maybe continue my career. And my entry point back to ICT was AI. So I really don't know. I cannot pinpoint what's the reason for girls. I can't link it to my personal. That was the reason why I left ICT. But if I would suggest something beside the other, in the ground strategies and efforts being put by corporates and by government through policies, through long-lasting programs, through kind of quotas, I would say with AI there's a golden opportunities for women and for girls to enter back ICT like no other time. AI has leveled the playground for everybody who have never wrote a line of code, who do not know how to write an application, who do not studied 4 years, 6 years engineering. With AI, they can come back and work for an ICT company to design and to work and developing ICT solution or developing applications and AI solution without the need to go through, back again to the, back to schools, I would say. So if I would suggest something strongly now, and Jennifer told me that she's doing back there in Verizon, where they teach the girls and the women AI and how they can use AI, demystifying this technology, telling them how they can be instrumental and how they can be really, I would say, a creator for the futures. During AI. So I think the job description for ICT engineer will change with AI. And I think it will be more appealing for women and girls. That's my humble opinion. Might be right, I might be wrong, but I think that's what I think.
Thank you, Najla, for sharing that. You're definitely a role model here. And the only female panelist that I saw other than this session on the panel during the day. So, big round of applause for you. Lydia, we were having an interesting conversation over lunch where you were sharing your personal passion about removing barriers for women and how you have started your own NGO, which is helping women to be more successful. Can you share more details with us?
Yes, of course. So when we organize workshops for women on strategic networking, we have different women from different sectors. We have entrepreneurs, we have managers, we have artists, we have NGO or startups founders or co-founders. What they have in common is a really strong imposter syndrome and lack of confidence that they deserve to be where they are. It shows how it is important to create sponsorship and mentorship programs at work. And when I look at transition from the sector where women are not very much present to the sector which will be open, inclusive, and friendly for women, I know that there is no single factor which is the reason of the problem. And when we want to know what to do to have more inclusive work environment, we have to have a look at young women entering the sector, and we want to know what they believe in, what they expect, what is their ambition, and what they want to achieve. And when we look at women quitting this sector, it would be good to have a look at exit interviews and know what was their disappointment and why they decided to quit the sector. And this is how we can create strategies and policies responding to real challenges and problems of women in ICTs. Probably the area for improvement can be motivation strategy, can be promotion strategy, can be a pay gap at work, or not sufficiently friendly work environment.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing that. Let's pivot the conversation a little bit and let's talk about your own personal journeys. So, Christelle, I'm going to start with you.
Okay.
Share with us that how do you define your personal success? What are some of the lessons that you had learned along the way that you would like to share with young women who are now entering into the industry?
Thank you, Shazia. Hi, everyone, and thank you for being there so late. I'm Christelle Briantet. I'm one of the founding partner of PMP Strategy, and I'm head of Telco B2B and ICT. During my career, I started telecom very young, and during my career, I always been with a lot of men. But what I could say is that I love a lot this sector. I'm doing a lot in this sector since for a while, and I am also participating and encouraging young people in the school through a foundation called 100,000 Entrepreneurs to encourage people in France to do more entrepreneur. And what I'm talking to, what I am saying to them is to dare to do things. I mean, if you want to do things, if you like a sector, an industry, if you like doing a job, then you have to go on and to do your dream. So that's what I learned from my career. If you want to do something, you have to dare, you have to try. Maybe it's not working the first time. Don't hesitate to retry and go. That's my recommendation.
Impressive. That's simply impressive. Simple yet courageous. Thanks for sharing that. Nada, we're really interested in knowing what your success path has been and what would you like to share with the young females who are entering the field?
I would like to respond with this question with a very short story first, that when I started all the way back in 2001, I remember I was discouraged by many people. Why do you want to enter this sector? It's male-dominated. It is too technical. You would not progress. You're not going to shine. But I didn't let these words to define me, and I've decided to just conquer, break the barriers, seize the opportunities, and embrace the empowerment which Sheikha Fatma bint Barak has always empowered women for. So, I decided to take this way and to try to work in this sector and try to express my capabilities to make it more inclusive, dynamic, and more innovative. So today I'm with you here as a founder and leader of the consumer affairs at the Telecommunication and Digital Government Regulatory Authority, and what I do is I put together design policies that protect millions of consumers in the telecom sector. So my point is success, in my view, is about impact. It's a larger vision. It's not about just achieving personal milestones, but it's about having a larger impact on a bigger number of people. And I think with our contributions as women, we can add depth into a depth of value into this sector. We can add innovation to it. We can make it more customer-centric and more inclusive. My advice to the girls, to the young girls, is that to believe in their capabilities, to work hard, to push the boundaries, seize opportunities, and try to keep up to date with the latest technologies and trends, seek for mentorship mentorship, because this is very helpful. Go for trainings, and another thing is that networking. I've realized that networking is really useful. It has helped me a lot. It was a very useful tool for me to learn about international best practices by networking with my peers in other countries and the same entity that I'm working, like other regulators across all countries. So I've realized networking teaches you a lot. By itself, it's a method of teaching. So by doing all of this, I think they can progress and they can thrive in this sector, and they can make our future brighter and make this sector more inclusive.
Thank you, great advice. So I do want to double click on the comment that you made, which is about the mentorship and sponsorship. So Dalia, you were sharing with us some of your extremely unique and interesting experiences from across the globe. So we do continue to hear that in male-dominated sectors, it's very important to have male sponsors and male advocates, because they do play a very important role in the success of women who are entering into that field. So have you experienced that type of support and advocacy? And what are your thoughts? How can we scale it so that we see more women in the leadership role?
Definitely. Thank you for the question, Shazia, and thank you for everyone who's still awake here. So we will not keep you from the reception for long. Just bear with us. I believe I was very fortunate having two lovely men mentors in my life that I learned a lot from them. The first one was my late father, who 100% believed in the power of women. He definitely pushed me to reach my potential day in, day out. Where at the start of my career, I started with AT&T. Very few women at the time was either working in the ICT section, because it was believed to be the section dominated by mustache men. And I started my career in human resources where at the beginning it wasn't even known what human resources is. And from him, I have learned leading with resilience and empathy, something that I continue to practice day in and day out. The other mentor that I had actually was one of my first bosses, an Englishman who, again in AT&T, there was a program for potential talent, young ones. I was young one day, guys, believe it or not. And at the time, there was a mentorship program. Again, I was spotted at the time of this program, and the mentorship started with hand-holding into leadership path until 2 years program, until graduation happens and I was ready to lead. I believe this personally have shaped me into the person I am, both experiences, and have paved the way for me to believe in sponsorship and mentorship, both for men and women actually, not only women. I was mentored by two men. I mentor a lot of men and women. The only difference I believe is circumstances. I came across a small talk from a CEO of one of the ICT companies saying that with women there is no balance. It's always juggling. We are always juggling, women are always juggling chores. So between the day job that we have to be perfect in to fit, and the night job as caregivers, whether moms or sisters or even daughters of elderly parents, there is a lot in the plate that we have to do. And with this coming into what I think the circumstances If we want women in general to come into businesses, and especially in ICT, where it's male-dominated industry, not only come, but stay and be in a leadership position, we have to create the environment. Environment start with policies, different flexibilities. I also came across a new approach dealing with employees called EACH by a nice lady called Lucy Adams. Have a look at it. It's actually very inspiring. Deal with employees, and this have inspired me a lot into the mentorship programs that we do in E and for women. So deal with employees, the E stands for employee, as first adults, then consumers, then humans. And by adults, the first part is deal with women as adults. Stop parenting, the parenting approach. Let them choose what they want to do, how they want to do it. Just avail the flexibility, and we're lucky now after the COVID that the flexible and the hybrid environment, but avail more opportunities for flexibility. Be transparent in terms of career development, career choices. The part of the consumer, deal with humans as consumer always have choices. We as businesses try as much as possible to provide choices for consumers so that they can choose us. And in this, I want this approach actually to be there as well, choices of where the cross-functional, the international exposure, and so on. And humans just be aware that people are different with vulnerability and authenticity. People definitely, if women feel that they are heard, they will come and stay. So an approach with mentorship around these factors, I believe would definitely do well.
Thank you for sharing those stories and advice. Jennifer, what has been your experience with the mentorship and sponsorship?
Yeah, I think it's a very important part of most of our career journeys. I've had both male and female mentors, and I think I've learned equally from them. They've given me visibility. They've taught me to believe in myself, to reach out to others to get support, really building the teamwork and stakeholdering, which I think in most large organizations, at least in Verizon, that's a key to success if you know how to build those relationships. And I think it really starts with that mentorship. And I think, I know we have a call to action question later that I think Gina's got something, but, one of the things I really work on within my business unit is how do we provide opportunities for both men and women to get visibility, to show their stuff, what are they subject matter experts on, and we put them in front of all hands calls with the teams. Now everything's virtual, as Dalia mentioned. It's a nice way to get people the opportunity to show their stuff, gain their confidence, and then you start to have more visibility to get that pipeline of talent. And something we've challenged our leadership team with is everybody choose, one or two people that you're going to mentor and also sponsor. So in the next 12 months, who are you actively sponsoring to get them promoted to the next role? And we found just having that small goal in each of our performance agreements drives intention. And with intention, you start to get the results, and back to the metrics we were talking about before, you can drive the metrics. And so that's something that, I've taken from my mentors and sponsors to then, build that wave behind me so that we can pave the way for young people behind us.
Amazing. Talk about commitment. Thank you. So let's pivot to some calls to action. So we know that the progress has been made, but we still have a long way to go. So Crystal, what would be your thoughts and advice to the organizations to address the gender gap in hiring, promoting, and retaining female talent in tech?
Yes, in fact, it's not an easy question because first of all, you have to, I think, encourage a lot young women to come in that kind of jobs. But then when they come, I think there are a lot of things to do. First of all, you can give some facilities. In terms of organizing time, Now with remote work and so on, it's possible to give that possibility, that opportunity for women, so that they can also organize their life better. It's not only for women, in fact. When we do that at PMP Strategy, most of those who get profit of that are men. But it shows that it's a good measure to do. Then other thing could be also to help people to make work and private life go together. For example, by helping on with children, to give a way of having children during the day, so that the woman and the man could have work without the children, for example. And last thing, perhaps is also to give some mentors inside the organization. It's totally possible to organize that and to look after that woman profile that you have, that are very important for you. You look after her, you give mentorship for her specific or trainings with Lydia, for example, to get self-confidence. For me and for us at PMP Strategy, we look after that very, very much. Thank you.
Amazing. Gina, what are your thoughts on the topic?
Of mentorship and sponsorship?
No, advice for the organization to address the gender gap for hiring, promoting, and retaining female talent.
Yes. So like anything you would do in your company, if you want to do it, you make a plan. You figure out where you are, you figure out, sort of assess where you are as a starting point, you set where you want to be, you look at benchmarks or other things that are happening in the industry, and you say, all right, how do we get there? It really is very similar to any other part of your strategy. It's making it an intentional and making it a priority. And there are organizations that can help you do that. There's one called EDGE, E-D-G-E, and in it, they have a whole process you can go through as an organization, and you can even be certified to do this, but it'll help you do this work. You know, like anything, if it's not something you're familiar with, it's great to get smart people in to help you figure that out, and they'll help you do those assessments, they'll help you understand what the benchmarks are in the industry, set those targets, because then you can measure them, you can adapt, and you can see how you can move toward. Again, like any other part of your business, it's about making that intentional move to do that. There's been a lot of conversation here that have given such great examples of what mentorship and sponsorship means, and that is a really important part of the puzzle as well. Because if people aren't supported in the process, we have that issue that was discussed where then they just go somewhere else, they leave. And there's lots of reasons for that. And they're not always personal reasons. Like, you know, some people have said, oh, it's just, you know, they have kids and they get married and they do it. That's not everyone's story. And also, many women want to make an impact. And the impact that ICT, the whole industry, can make, we can really attract that talent into our organization so they can, and into our industry, so that they can make that impact. We can do that together. So there's lots of really key areas for us to do that. One area that I want to just add, and I know we've got short time, is STEM outreach and sort of these early programs where you get in to universities and work with nonprofits to get young women interested in our field and then actually create that bridge for them into your organization. It is incredibly powerful, and it really does help attract talent into the organization. And as you were saying, there's so many exciting things happening. We want them to come to the ICT sector and not off into others, because the talent is incredible, and we miss it if we don't have these intentional strategies.
Thank you.
You're
Thank you
welcome.
very much. To wrap it up, let's paint the future here. Let's fast forward 10 years from now. I want to hear in one sentence your elevated pitch what would you like to see in terms of gender parity if we are in the future 10 years from now? So Christelle, let's start with you.
Okay, like I said, for me, in 10 years, I like women do not hesitate to dare, try, and go. Please.
I would say in the room here, we're 50-50. Part of the participation, the panels, everything, there's equity.
Adding to all of this, I would say we want to have an ICT industry that truly reflects the diversity of our world, because that's how we will thrive as a community.
Okay, for me, I have to see Tony eye to eye and say in 10 years from now, I want to see a panel called Men in ICT. Wait a minute. Trying to regain their dominance in ICT. Okay? Discussing how they can regain their dominance. Okay.
Yeah. Excellent.
Lydia.
In 10 years, I would like to see ICT industry as a sector where equity, gender equity, is not an aspiration but the standard, which means that opportunities are equitable, where innovation is created by diverse teams, where leadership is balanced, and where pay gap doesn't exist.
Nada.
In 10 years, I would like to see that women empowerment in ICT and generally is not anymore a goal, it's a reality, it's a fact, and equal representation of women in leadership and contribution to shaping this sector is there, and women is there and actually contributing to shaping that sector.
Talia.
I believe the change is a journey. So 10 years is a lot of time. If we take these 10 years, invest in different education, emphasize on equity, take opportunities and push people to have a different perspective and change the narrative, I believe that we will be in definitely a better place that all our colleagues have.
Amazing. So just to kind of wrap it up, I do want to share what I would like to see. I'm a very impatient person. I won't wait for 10 years. Next year, I want to see this conference to start with women in ICT. And I promise, Tony, I will respond to my emails quickly. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, ladies. Keep it going, everybody, for our panelists. We'll just have a picture center stage, of course. And then also we'll invite Mr. Tony up for the closing remarks for day one.
Justice, that will not be long. It's very long time for everyone, including myself. And tomorrow also we have a long day as well. We have a reception cocktail and demo area the other side. All our sponsors will receive an appreciation certificate from us. So please join us there. I will not be late. Thank you.